good morning, Unity of Payson.
Good morning.
So nice to be here together in this beautiful, beautiful weather. And those of you who are joining us virtually online, we bless you in that place where you are as well. I'm Rev Neal Worthington, and it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. And I wore a flower in honor of that, not because I'm a mother. Well, I may have done a little nurturing somewhere along the way, but honoring mothers that are here today. And if you are a mother, you are especially celebrated on this day. Would you join me in a brief prayer as we gather together? God of all goodness, we are grateful this morning for the beauty that invades our lives and seizes our attention if we will but look and listen. We are grateful for mothers today, especially for our mothers who have brought us into the world, who have nurtured us along the way, have been perfect and imperfect both. We are grateful for all those who have played a nurturing role in our lives. Again, we owe them a debt of gratitude. So this morning as we gather, both here in Payson, in Kay's backyard, and online, scattered across the country, we bless each one who is with us here. Bless each one who will watch this recording after. We are grateful this day, May the 9th, 2021. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I'm just going to say
good morning.
Donna's joining virtually. She's on the virtual platform.
Hello, everyone.
So you'll have to listen carefully.
It's time for our welcoming blessings of visitors. My name is Donna Steckel, and I'm a licensed Unity teacher and your platform hostess this morning. Welcome to Unity of Payson. We're so glad you're with us. We want to recognize those that are new to Unity of Payson. I'm not really sure if there's anyone new right now on Zoom. There is one name I'm not familiar with. It says Galaxy A32 S5G.
That's on a new phone.
Oh.
And I just want to recognize two people that are here in person, who were with us last week online, but first time in person, although I think, Jeff, you've been here before. Jeff and Juliet, or Jules, you got to tell me afterwards which one you prefer. But they're with us here this morning. And thank you, Phyllis, for bringing them along.
Amen.
Down back to you. And Mike. Well, Mike, we know.
Oh, well, I know you know. You just can't.
So if you'd like to be informed of events at Unity of Payson, please visit us on our website at unityofpayson.org. When you provide your name and email, we'll send you our weekly newsletter every Monday. Again, we warmly welcome you, and from our Unity of Payson family, we say together, we love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And now it's time for our opening song. The song is Swing Wide the Doors by Daniel Nahmod. During the song, you're welcome to send greetings in the chat or to greet people individually, safely distanced.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go now. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. All right now, swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Okay, now it's time for our gratitudes. We're grateful for those who support Unity of Payson with your time, with your talent, and with your treasures. We are grateful for the events of last week, which include morning coffee each weekday 9:30 a.m., Intender's Circle, Book Circle, and Course in Miracles. We're thankful for the technology that allows us to meet virtually and as a hybrid. We are thankful. And we know you have things to be grateful for. So at the end of our service, we'll invite you to briefly share your gratitudes with all of us. And that will be either in person or virtually. If you are sharing in person after the service, please step to the monitor in front so that all may hear you and see you. Today is Friendship Sunday, and happy Mother's Day to all. Unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer, and we have trained prayer chaplains to serve you and support you. Our chaplains are available to pray with you if you have a prayer need or request. You can call or text your request to the church phone. The number's on the screen, 928-235-7142. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for 30 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. Please leave a phone number or email with your request, and a chaplain will contact you for personal prayer support. If you are here in person and would like prayer support today, please connect with one of our chaplains who are there in person. And which chaplains do we have in person today? We have Betty, we have Kay, and do we have Anne Marie?
And Kay, 3.
Yeah, all right, Betty, Kay, and Anne Marie. We also have chaplain scarves, so possibly they're wearing them. I don't know because I'm not there, but maybe next time. The Unity Worldwide theme for May is power. The power of my thoughts and words moves me ever closer to the truth of my being. Today's speaker is our own Rev Neal Worthington. The title of his talk is The Weeding and Nourishing of Thoughts. And I just want to say something coming up next month. There's an ordination service happening. Although Reverend Neal has been licensed as a Unity minister, there's still an ordination service he'll be going through next month. So hopefully everyone can join for that. And now for our metaphysical moment. Truth transcends our physical experience of life and of our world. Please join with me as we consider an expression of truth with a capital T. So today I'm reading from Daily Word, and then I'll read some Mother's Day quotes after that. Motherly love. I give thanks for motherly love. God's perfect love, expressing through my mother, gave me life. God's love, wisdom, and strength guided her and all those who nurtured me as I grew. My words of praise and gratitude let me show my mother how much I appreciate her. When I wish to demonstrate my appreciation for my mother's example, I share the nurturing, motherly love of God in my words and actions with all people. Remembering the times when my mother or another compassionate person listened patiently and shared encouraging words, I seek to be a caring, supportive presence. Recalling how my mother became joyful when I learned something new, I share my skills and knowledge willingly when someone seeks my help. In gratitude, I share the gifts of nurturing love. Isaiah 66:13. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. So I had an experience yesterday with Reverend Neal, who some of you know as my husband. And I was having some feelings, and we just sat on my front porch with tea, and he just listened very patiently and carefully and with a lot of nurturance to the feelings I was having. It wasn't anything about us. It was something happening for me, and he listened for my feelings and my needs. And it was very motherly and pastoral. So thank you, Reverend Neal, for that. And now for some Mother's Day quotes. So the first one I have on the screen is, a mother is she who can take the place of all others, but whose place no one else can take. And I have another one. The next one is, we are born of love, and love is our mother, Rumi. And I have a third one. Nothing is really lost until your mom can't find it. Happy Mother's Day. And there's a couple more. The next one says, life doesn't come with a manual. It comes with a mother, unknown author. And the last one. God could not be everywhere, and therefore he made mothers. Rudyard Kipling for that one. Okay, thank you. And now it's time for Reverend Neal to give our message.
I'm not going to call them growing pains. I'm just going to call them growing experiences that challenge us, that make us laugh sometimes, and that also make us excited about what we're learning. So this morning, I want to talk to you about the weeding and nourishing of thoughts. Last week, if you remember, we talked about things that we were able to master. And prime among those things was we are able to master our thoughts. So we have the ability, we have the power to master our thoughts. It does take some diligence, but we do have that power. So today I'd like to speak about this, and I've developed what I call a key spiritual truth for today. And here it is, real quick and brief. Thoughts are seeds placed in consciousness. Thoughts are seeds placed in consciousness. So I'm a gardener. I have a plot at the community garden here in Payson, not too far from here. All of 6 feet by 25 feet is my plot. But it's an exciting thing for me to get out there. I just love doing it. Every day almost I get out there, and I may not stay long, but I'm just there with my garden. So when I began the garden this year, this is my 3rd year of doing it. Began the garden this year, I went early when the garden opened, and I noticed my plot was quite barren, and it had some old plants that had dried up and were on it. And I began to think about preparing that plot for planting season. So I raked it out, and then I took a wheelbarrow and a shovel and went to one of many piles of compost and manure that are there for us to enrich the soil. And I got 10 wheelbarrow loads, and put them on my plot and raked them out, and it looked better already. When I came back the next time, the staff at the garden had already taken a rototiller and had tilled in all of that material that I had put there to enrich the soil. So it was really looking better. Then I began to rake out some stones and even it out and get it ready for planting. That was my first thing. Then at home, I have this little tub that I use to keep all my gardening supplies. I looked through that to find the seeds that were left over, the ones that I needed to get, the plants that I would want to get when the time was right. And I began to think about planting. And then very soon I did. I began with things that were root crops that probably would withstand the cold early. So in went beets and carrots and turnips. And it was just exciting to put those seeds in the ground. I really loved it. Then, not long after, I had to wait because nothing came up very quick. Do you know how long it takes carrots to germinate and come up? It's like forever, and they don't appear. So the waiting was a process of it. But eventually, something popped up, and guess what? It was a weed. Not something I planted. There was a weed popping up. So my nurturing of that garden started with my plucking out of those weeds in order that the nourishment that was there in that soil that I had worked to make that happen, that could be for the plants, the ones that I intended to be there. Actually, the weeds are just a plant out of place. In another place, they might be quite all right, but in my garden, no. So that's the 3 things that I did. I prepared the soil, I chose my seeds, and I tended it. And I will continue to tend that garden through, I'll nurture each one of those small plants. I'm happy to tell you that there are some that you don't have to wait too long for. And I plucked my first radishes yesterday. And so it's coming along. But I will have that process of tending that soil, of mulching around the plants, of making sure the tomatoes climb right and stay within their enclosures, and that the beans don't take over everything else. They'll be tending the garden. So I love that. And that's a metaphor that I'm going to use throughout this talk today. I'm going to give, if you would, a metaphysical meaning to gardening and these 3 elements that I've talked about. So let's look at those elements with spiritual eyes now. Number 1, I'm going to make an equation here. Soil equals consciousness. Soil equals consciousness. Consciousness is a little bit of an enigmatic word. but it can be understood when you look at it fairly comprehensively. Here's what one of our co-founders, Charles Fillmore, said about consciousness. Consciousness, he said, metaphysically, is the composite of ideas, thoughts, emotion, sensation, knowledge, and I would add images that make up the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious minds. Won't go on to explain all those things right now, but let's talk first about the conscious mind. That's the one you know most about, something that you use every day in whatever you do. You make choices in your conscious mind. You observe things, and that enters into your conscious mind. So the conscious mind is something that's very real and present with you. Now, the subconscious mind, that's another matter. That's where you don't realize what you are thinking. You don't know what you're thinking. And it's programs that have been run maybe for decades and continue to run. And those subconscious thoughts keep occurring and occurring and occurring. One tabulation says that there are about 60 to 80,000 of them that you engage in every day, many of them repetitive. So those 60 to 80,000 thoughts, at least 90%, maybe even a greater percentage than that, are something that you don't understand, that you don't know of. And then there is superconscious thought. That's our connection with the divine. I think that's divinely connected consciousness. That's where divine ideas, divine principles are housed. Actually, they're not housed out there someplace, but they're housed within, because the divine resides within us, and we go within to get that connection with the superconscious, that divine consciousness. So in those three areas of consciousness, we talked about the soil. We'll go back to the garden metaphor. For all of these thoughts, we have to, number one, dig the garden deeply and loosen the soil. Well, I had some help with the rototiller, but in our own consciousness, when we dig deeply into who we are, when we're able to step back for a moment and observe ourselves, when we're able to evaluate, when we're able to discern ourselves, how often do we take time to do that? Just to look at ourselves, not in a judgmental way, but in a way of evaluating ourselves. Einstein, I think, was who said, the unexamined mind is not worth living. So there's that part, digging the soil deeply, the soil of our consciousness, and then removing impediments to growth. There are so many things, particularly those subconscious thoughts that keep going around and around and around. Those subconscious thoughts are impediments to our growth and our expansion, that which we are naturally inclined to. So we need to remove some of those impediments. We talk about it by letting things go. We talk about it by saying we're going to deny that such a thing, which doesn't really serve us, which is a part of our consciousness, when we become aware of it, when we are able to bring it to light, that we realize it's not the truth. We deny it as being the truth, and we turn to the truth of who we are. That's the perfection in which we're created. We don't live it out every day, but we have the opportunity to use our mind, the power of our mind, and our consciousness and the development of our consciousness to reach us toward that goal of growth, expansion. And then there's the idea of amending the soil. That's what we call it in the garden. We're going to amend the soil. We're going to make it better. And we may go to a plant fair over in the Star Valley, if you're here in Payson, or to another garden shop where there's good organic material, and you may get a recipe or bone meal and other things. I don't remember all the ingredients, but I mixed it all up and added it when I was planting. Amending the soil, taking that compost, that manure, those additives, those good things that will be nutrients for the plant going forward. That's what I do. I amend the soil. And same thing we do for our life. How do we amend our life? How do we amend our consciousness? We do that by input of that which grows us, that which serves us, that which enriches us, that which satisfies us. We all have heart's desires. And those heart's desires are made to be met. And they can be met by amending the soil of our consciousness. We do that by reading is one thing. I don't know if many people read anymore, or watching. Both equally powerful. Bringing into our consciousness that which we choose, because we get to choose what to read. We get to choose what to watch. And then, of course, just the time in quiet and in meditation that can feed our soul. If we were to alter just by a small percentage the nature, the balance of what we have as an input into our life, both reading and watching, and maybe even the friends that we hang out with, and also that time we're able to alter that balance and up the idea that there are amendments that we can do that will enrich us. It would make a huge difference. So soil, consciousness, there's something we can do about it, just like we can do that about that in our garden. So the second equivalency that I want to say is about the seed. Seed equals thoughts. Seed equals thoughts. As we talked about, we all have them, many of them. But let's emphasize a little bit more the idea that we get to choose them. That means that there are some thoughts that are coming toward us, coming into our mind that we can bypass or deflect. Just choose not to go there. Again, this is a spiritual exercise that takes some effort, but it's well worth the effort. So choosing our thoughts. There's a scripture in Philippians chapter 4 that I really love and have for a long time. Here it is. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable. Think about these things. It's that simple. Not necessarily easy. It will take that spiritual practice that you're working on to develop this. Choosing your thoughts, choosing where you, and when you get that thought that comes in that doesn't give you what you want, that doesn't make you feel good, that doesn't end up taking you where you want it to take you. Time to deflect or kind of gently push that thought aside and choose something else. I recommend the exercise of when you find yourself in a thought that's not working for you, pause. Pause, such a powerful tool. Pause. Choose another. Put your emphasis, put your thought there. So installing that thought in consciousness may take some repetition. We often talk about affirmations, positive statements of truth as we know it to be from an inner sense. And we take that truth and we repeat it again and again. We put it on a sticky note on our mirror. We put it on a card where we see it all of the time. We take that information and we choose our thought, like choosing a seed, by affirming it and considering it and knowing that it will get us what we desire. And then there's this process of waiting for the seed. I talked about that before. Waiting for those carrots to come up. Waiting for the season. Sometimes a thought may not be there for the immediate time. We talk a lot about doing what is ours to do. I'd like to suggest that thinking what is ours to think is also an important thing. Maybe a fine point, a fine thought that's there. It may be like a weed that's just out of place, not in the right place at the time. I don't know if any of you remember a movie called Being There. I see some head nodding here, and I expect there are some virtually as well. That's a wonderful movie, and if you haven't had a chance to, I thought of it yesterday, and I had to go watch it again. So I went and rented it and watched it again. It's a wonderful movie. Peter Sellers. What was it? Peter Sellers in a serious role, which he's so comedic, but a wonderful, wonderful performance. Yes. So in that movie, of course, if you're not familiar with it, Chauncey Gardner was a relatively simple-minded fellow who lived all his life inside the confines of one estate and was a gardener, knew the garden well. But he got outside of that estate into the wide world and into the company of a political kingmaker. And that political kingmaker took him in and became best friends. They almost instantly became best friends. And as Chauncey would share what, from his simple perspective, he knew, the kingmaker saw it as great wisdom. Invited the president to come, and Chauncey met with the president, and his simple wisdom was something that was deemed to be profound. I like it so much. I want to share just a little bit of the dialogue that was there. And it has to do with this idea of a season for everything. Chauncey says this: yes, in the garden, growth has its seasons. First comes spring and summer, but then we have fall and winter. And then we get spring and summer again. The president replies, spring and summer. Yes, says Chance. The president. Then fall and winter. Yes, replies Chance. And then Benjamin Rand, this political kingmaker, says, kind of interprets it, says, I think what our insightful young friend is saying is that we welcome the inevitable seasons of nature, but we're upset by the seasons of our economy. And so integrated that with real life. It's a wonderful thing. And Chance replies in a final bit for that dialogue, yes, there will be growth in spring. I love that sense that, I see you laughing back there, Jeff. That was a great movie. The idea that there is a season for everything. And even in our thinking, there is a season. There is a time for us to spend thought in a particular way, and time to let that go for a period of time. Sometimes we can have so many thoughts that we do need to let some go for a season. So there we go. The seed and tending the seed, planting it in season, harvesting it in season. The same is true with our thought. The third part is tending the garden. And I'm going to give you the other equation here. Tending the garden equals managing our thoughts. Tending the garden equals managing our thoughts. Of course, for a garden, you need sunshine. Sometimes you need less sunshine, but you need sunshine. You need water. The garden needs to be weeded. Those plants that are not in the right place, those weeds, what we call them, need to be plucked out. And then maybe we might even go an additional step. Mulch the garden to keep the moisture in, to prevent those weeds from.
Sorry.
Well, a metaphysical equivalent about that, with regard to sunshine, exposing ourselves to divine light. Divine light is something that's within us and within each of us. And together we often experience that divine light in a really wonderful togetherness. But each of us individually have that divine light available to us. So we expose our thoughts to that divine light, and it shines on them in a way that makes us know whether they're working for us or not. Expose our thoughts to divine light. Nourish the thought that you've chosen, just like the plant. Spend time to make sure there are no pests there. Make sure that there are no weeds encroaching. Take that thought that you've chosen, that good thought, and nourish it. Nourish that thought. Then pluck all the non-serving thoughts in the wrong place at the wrong time. Use denials. Let them go. And then finally, give the thought spiritual cover. I like to think of mulch as spiritual cover. So spiritual cover is spiritual practice that keeps us from straying where we intend to go. We often have intentions, but we don't follow those intentions very well. With spiritual cover, we are able to protect those thoughts that we've chosen, to help them in their growth, and to let go What doesn't? Spiritual cover. That's spiritual practice. Whether for you it's meditation, whether it's reading, inspirational reading, whether it's being in the company of people that just make you know who you really are as a spiritual being. Spiritual cover. I come back to that key spiritual truth that I spoke of at the beginning. Thoughts are seeds planted in consciousness. So I would challenge you today to culture your consciousness. Choose your thoughts carefully and tend to them. And so it is.
Okay, so please prepare for meditation as we listen to our meditation song. You are the face of God, Karen Drucker.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. Face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. Eres la luz de Dios. I hold you in my heart. Eres la cara del amor. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
quiet after this beautiful song by Karen Drucker. Pull all of your attention, and you can do this, to the present, to right where you are, to right here, right now, even to the oneness. For you are the face of God. I am the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You hold me in your heart. And so it is with all of creation. So in this quiet time, I'd like us to take just a bit of a journey in our consciousness. See in your mind a path leading briefly through a wood, but then coming out in a brightness on the other side. You follow that path. It beckons to you. It wants to lead you on. You come, as you're on that path, to a quiet, shaded glen that's just asking for you to spend time there. You sit on the soft grass. You hear the birds. The trickle of water somewhere in the distance. And you have time to contemplate all. As you sit there, almost as though it's a bubble above you, you see one of the desires that you've held in your heart for a long time. You begin to get a clearer and clearer picture of it. There's that desire taking form in your mind. And you hold your thought there. You treasure that thought. You choose that thought over and over again. And as you do, it's almost as though that thought emerges into a greater brilliance and magnificence, and it begins to really shine. You notice some things that are impeding that thought, and you just brush them aside. You pluck whatever's in that way of the expansion of that dream, and you put it aside. You let it go. Another thought may come, and you just let it go, because you stay with that harsh desire that is unfolding before you. You tend that desire, as it were, just making sure that every situation is perfect for you. You delight in it, and you know that it is yours. Spend some time just in the quiet, a minute or two, contemplating that wonderful, magnificent, well cared for desire set in your consciousness, your chosen thought, as we go into the silence. And now, slowly bring your awareness back to this time, this place. You are full of hope possibility, excitement, because you know, just know, that desire that began from within will be experienced before your eyes, before your physical eyes. And then give thanks. Be grateful. Be grateful. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Neal, for that inspiring message and lovely meditation. We have a chat appreciation, which I think we'll save for after service. And now it is time for our tithes and offerings. Unity of Payson greatly appreciates your gifts in support of this ministry. The gifts not only support this spiritual community, but they also go out to the larger community. As you listen to the offering song, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering basket will be passed in person here in Payson. If you're attending virtually, the information for giving is on the slide. You can go to unityofpayson.org, and there is a donate button that you can click on during the song. So bring your attention to your gift and call to mind your heart's desires. And together let's affirm, freely we give and freely we receive. And the song is Love is My Decision by Daniel Nahmod.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Now it's time for the dedication of the offering. We're grateful for these gifts and for the abundance that they offer. We bless them and those who give, as we say together, divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous and we are grateful. And so it is. Unity of Payson. Amen. Next Sunday's speaker will be Rev Neal Worthington. And the title of his talk is A Mess or a Masterpiece? Question mark. And we're continuing with our Unity Worldwide theme for May, which is power. And the affirmation is, the power of my thoughts and words moves me ever closer to the truth of my being. And I will share a few announcements with you today, but there are many things happening at Unity of Payson. Please check the website. Again, that's unityofpayson.org, or the Monday newsletter that comes by email for all the details. So the first announcement would be Energy Thursday with Tom. And that's this Thursday, May 13th at 6:30 to 7:30. What brings you joy? With Kathy Hicken. The 4 questions so you can contemplate. What gets you up in the morning? What brings you joy? How good are you at letting go? And where do you see yourself in 6 months, 1 year, or 5 years? Midday meditation will be Friday at noon, May 14th. It's the 2nd and 4th Fridays of each month. We have a book circle. It began May 3rd and skipped a week. And the next one is May 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. The book is Beyond Religion by the Dalai Lama, facilitated by Teresa. And we have a PS from Neil.
An acknowledgement and a request for you being with us in terms of your energies, in terms of your prayers and your thoughts. The board will meet this week. The board meets the 2nd Tuesday of every month. And, you know, we're in a wonderful transition time. Exciting what we learn, a little humorous from time to time. But do keep us, the board of Unity of Payson, in your mind as we make decisions about how we function moving ahead. I love the connection. It would be better if we had a little better sound here in person. We'll get that one wrinkle ironed out. Jeff, you know how I'm going to talk to you. Anyway, we've got some wrinkles to iron out, but do pray for us. Pray with us as we consider the road ahead, consider all of the things that help us to function optimally and serve you in all of the many ways that Unity of Payson does. And that's all I have. That's it. We'll go on to our closing.
Okay. So the first thing we'll do is our peace song and then our prayer for protection. And then we'll open up for gratitudes. So here's our peace song.
Yeah. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Now our prayer for protection.
The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And all is well. So we're going to have some time for gratitudes from the congregation. Please feel free to share with us what you're grateful for. Unmute if you're sharing virtually, and you may also share in the chat, which I'm going to go to first because I did say something about the chat. And Joy tells us from Colorado, wowee, that talk was profoundly wise and inspirational, Reverend Neal. Thank you. I'm so grateful for this whole community. And thank you, Joy. Your gratitude brings goosebumps to me, God bumps. Anybody else would like to share a gratitude?
Well, I'll say it in person too. Anyway, I'm every week I'm more and more grateful.
Well, we will connect. Anybody have a blessing, a word for all of those who are online for us?
Happy Mother's
Happy
Day!
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day!
And we are grateful for all our mothers.
God bless you all.
And from Neal Worthington to the birds, what beautiful songs you have sung.
So, my friend,
And if anybody's interested, I'm gonna be playing some.
we made a couple of mistakes. First
In
of
the
all,
house.
And eventually we'll get people here to go home.